it seems to me, okay, that fiscal responsibility, it doesn't belong to the government in Washington or Augusta. You start it right here in town, okay? If you want to live by, over your means, so you pay your high taxes. That's a starting point, okay? Our own elected officials have to look at that first. Second statement is, the state, it seems like they made promises they just don't keep. The legislature just bounces around from one thing to the other, and it seems like it's a never-ending. If you don't want to give us the 55% so-called education that you promised, then change that ruler so we in town know exactly what we're going to be paying. Don't make promises that actually lies and false promises. Don't do that. I don't know which one of you three are going to be there, but when you stand up and say, oh yes, we're going to give you 55%, yeah, maybe 20 years from now, it doesn't happen. If you say you're going to give us 55%, that should be a priority first, not last. Okay? So you, the elected officials, when you go in Augusta, don't scratch your head where I'm going to get the money. I promised 55%. Cut my own salary first to give that 55%. Show a good example. One of the things, apparently to me, okay, that in Augusta, so-called officials over there, recently we had a computer glitch that we lost $10 million, more or less. Not one person actually was fired, reprimanded that I know of, or anything else. It just kind of went away. $10 million just flew away, okay? The hospital bills, okay, that we, the state, we, I should say, own them, all right? Did anybody ever looked at the hospital and said, okay, show me your bills? Who is getting the care? How many times are they getting the care? And how much that care is costing us? Is anybody out there that's really responsible for that? Any of you going to be responsible for that? How are you going to solve those dilemmas? You're just one little dot in there. How are you going to apply yourselves to make sure that we in the bottom end here actually believe what you're going to say, or what you're saying right now? How can we actually believe?
Okay, Mr. Savage, do any of you have any rebuttal a little bit to that, or answers? Or how would you like to address it?
Well, I think actions speak louder than words, and we'll have to see what happens. I mean, I clearly understand your frustration and what you were saying. It was very eloquently stated, and it's, you know, the legislature does often take a short-term perspective, and so that's where you get these cycles of, okay, this year we're going to promise this, but oops, the next legislature comes in and they have a different idea, and that does happen. And it's a frustration not just to people like you, but I think to some legislators who get up there and say, wait a second, you know, we just dealt with this issue, now we're going back to change it. But that's the process. That's how our democracy works. And your ability to express your opinion tonight is part of that as well. I think, you know, this 55% question was something that the people in the state supported, and the legislature has been trying to meet that, sometimes with more or less good faith, but it's out there as a goal. Is it the right goal? I'm not totally convinced it is, but I agree with your point that once we set sort of the ground rules, we need to try to stick to them, because I understand how difficult it is when you keep changing the rules of the game for any of us to plan or to predict or to, you know, carry out our own lives.
Thank you. Right on. I'll tell you, that computer glitch wore me out. I was so mad over that, I was spitting. I was very angry. I'm not going to point fingers, but I'm telling you, had that been Republicans in the House, the Senate, or the governor's office, hell would have broken loose up there. There was no reason for that not to go the way it did. That computer glitch happened, and you're right, no one's head rolled over that. It was as if it didn't even happen. And I can remember walking those halls thinking, this was, because I came in after, thinking, how on earth can this possibly be happening? How on earth is something like this, of this magnitude, on the taxpayers' dollars? Because I'm a taxpayer, and I always have been. How does this happen and not get talked about? It's as if mum was the word. Couldn't get it out of him. 55%. You're right. I went to senior senators the first year that I was in there, in 2006, and was asking, why are we saying that we're going to do the 55% if we're not going to do the 55%? That's not fair. These people, and maybe because I just know people who sit on school boards. These people are planning their budgets. If you're not going to give them that, then don't say that. I mean, let's just be real about what we're doing here. Well, the goal is 55%. Yeah, but the reality is, you're not doing 55%. So they're back at the shack trying to figure out how to budget for that. These are real lives that you're affecting by playing these games of, it's the goal. Enough said.
Daniel?
Well, I think I addressed your first point earlier when I said that I believe that community is built from the bottom up, and that it does start here, and we need to be communicating better with our communities. You also hear both my opponents talk about crossing the aisle. What I want to do is create a new aisle, and here's the poet in me. You're absolutely right. We are but a dot. But we're dots of different colors, and well-organized dots of different colors make a classic impressionist painting. So what we need to do is bring people together and organize those dots of different colors and become that Matisse. And that's the way that we're going to address the issues that you're bringing up.
Another question?